Rainier and Rainier Light, two great tastes in beer. And by Exxon, where quality makes a difference. And by the people of Pacific Northwest Bell, with products and services above and beyond the call.
Good afternoon. We welcome you to Husky football. Well, the bubble burst in Baton Rouge yesterday. The Huskies defeated in Baton Rouge before a record crowd of over 82,000 by a score of 42 to 14, or 40 to 14, I should say, by the LSU Tigers. Disappointing loss, Don James, I know for you, and disappointing because it was so one-sided.
Well, you'd like to be a little more competitive in a game. I think that's one thing that we've prided ourselves in our total program here, that the days that we did get defeated a lot of times, we did go out and compete pretty well.
Now, you go into a game, put together a defensive game plan against LSU. You look at film and tape and so forth of what they had done in the past, but they were able to move the ball through the air at will. You said it, and they were. Now, is it a game plan, or is it just defensive breakdowns, or what?
Well, I think anytime you go out and have that kind of a game defensively, you can find playing errors, coaching errors, and a lot of fine football by LSU. And I mentioned this to the players during the week, that some of our defensive players would probably play against the best athlete they would see all year. I was correct in saying that, and I think that's right. I think their offensive line will probably be the best we'll see. I was amazed that they were able to take apart some of our players. We had some seniors in there that were blocked pretty consistently, and that was disappointment.
Crowd have any effect on it at all?
No, not at all. I don't think that our offense had any problem. Of course, defensive players don't, it doesn't matter how much noise there is. Offensive players need a little bit more quiet, but we didn't have any problems with signal calling, to my knowledge.
Well, we heard about flash and dash and thunder and lightning, the two running backs, two great ones, Dalton Hilliard and Gary James. There's something else.
Well, the thing that they do is they have a lot of faith in their line. They run extremely hard to get to the point of attack. Then they're power runners. They can get up into you and make 3 or 4 yards on a tackle and break tackles. And I think a lot of times when you go in and it looks like you are missing tackles and tackling poorly, it's because of the quality of the running back.
What about the officiating? A lot of holding calls. You only have 1 penalty against Michigan and 9, and some critical penalties against LSU.
Well, I think again when you look at films, some penalties that are called by officials are hard to see. You always find a couple that you don't grade your players down because you think they're right, and you always find some that you grade the players down because they're wrong. But holding is you can be an umpire and you can call holding on every play. People say that, and I think it's true. I didn't see a lot of difference in the pass blocking that we were doing versus the pass blocking that they were doing. One problem that we had is if someone would rush in a gap and we couldn't get in front of them, you obviously have to push someone from the side, and they were saying that was illegal, and that was the only thing that I found fault with is that part of the pass protection.
Interesting football game. We'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this. LSU to kick it off. The Huskies win the toss. They elect to receive, and the ball to go into the end zone, and Washington will put it in play 1st and 10 at their own 20. And temperature about 79 degrees, and a lovely evening, really, for football, wasn't it?
And this was probably the best play of the game. We had everybody blocked in the corner here, and we cut it up inside. It might have been a touchdown. It's just, we didn't have a lot of great decisions by people running the ball, and it was just one of those days. Got to run harder, got to run faster, got to go with the hole. Come back and throw a little bit of a quick pass here to Spansky for 5 yards. He stepped out of bounds, would have made a little bit more.
Yeah, he would have made the first down had he not stepped out of bounds. 3rd and 4. Now, Steve Pallur is going to go back, throw to the outside. It will be short of the first down. Interestingly enough, as you see, it's short of the first down there. This set an NCAA record for completion, 16 in a row.
Consecutive, yes. But that was just for 1 yard, and Dale, their strong safety, just did a very fine job of reacting up on it. And this is what you hope you do when you play your zone drops, that you then can react to the shorter passes.
So 4th and 3 for Washington. They have to kick it away. High pass from center. 39-yard kick, and really not a bad kick, and it takes great bounce.
Well, that's, we were just fortunate to get it off with the snap. Mike kicked it about 20 yards and got about 19-yard roll on it, but it didn't really kill us. So this, with what they do with their offense, what's going to hurt us, this is that quick series we're talking about, and they make 9 yards on it, and it's got to be kept to 5 yards or less.
Fontenot for 9 yards. It is 2nd and 1 at the 43. Number 21. He just tripped up there for 4. That's Hilliard.
That's for a first down, and that's a play that we'll see all afternoon because we can't stop it. If we'd ever stop it, they might go to something else.
Hilliard, 121 yards rushing in the ball game. Incomplete. Intended for Hilliard.
I believe someone got a hand on that one. I think we might have tipped that one.
2nd and 10 at the 47. Wickersham to the outside. Great catch by Martin.
And again, it's a quick series, and we've got to make the hit. In fact, that's where you get the great hit. You come up there, instead we come up there and miss. And so instead of an 8 or 9 yard gain, it's a good catch. You can see that. But
it's good for 16 yards.
It's a big play, a big gain out of a pass designed to get you 4 or 5.
So 1st and 10 at the 37, the Washington 37. Now you cover this one pretty well. That's Hilliard again.
Toss sweep here, and Holmes and Hill get in there, make the tackle, and got Fred Small over there. We got pretty good corner support.
2nd and 10. Wickersham, young sophomore, had a pretty good day. Runs outside. He's going to throw it clear on the back of the end zone. He threw this away, didn't he?
Yes, this was just a smart move on his part. Don't try to force something that's not there. They've got pretty good field position.
Now 3rd and 10 at the 37. Get out of the drive right here if you can stop them. Wickersham over the middle. It is complete.
We're in man underneath coverage, and our guy's not as good as our guy. They pick up another 16-yard gain, and this is where when all your coverages break down. Your zone drops, you're 2 deep or 3 deep, and then you're underneath man. You can't get close to him. It's just.
Now why does that happen? Is that just
they're better than we were right there.
They were just better than you were at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to get better. We can't let that happen. But we had trouble with that last week. And we just got to get better in that secondary.
Dalton Hilliard to the outside for 6.
And again, he makes a good move there. Breaks it outside. J.C. Pearson makes a tackle, but it's another off-tackle play that's not supposed to get outside.
2nd and 4. Hilliard again.
This is the sweep, and we do force this inside for about a 3-yard gain. Kelly, Hill, Albritton all in the tackle.
And they're the ball down to 12 now. 3rd and 1. I formation. Hilliard goes straight ahead and gets the first down.
4-yard gain before Browning and McGill can make the tackle.
So first down, goal to go at the 8. Dalton Hilliard, just keep an eye on number 21. They'll come right back at him again.
He made a real good move right there. That's what the quickness in the tailback can do. Is go up there. The point of attack was the guard hole was stopped. He had the quickness to make the move, and it's 4-yard gain again. Browning and Leapart.
5th play in a row. They give it to Hilliard. Puts on a burst of speed, and he's in the end zone.
Again, this is just not very good defense. You could not stop anybody if you can't turn a play in. If we're not good enough to stand somebody on the outside and force this play back inside the rest of our teams. See, we don't have many guys out there, but when we let them get out there, that's the head linesman.
It's the head linesman, and a touchdown is what it is. Betanzos, the extra point, and just like that, it's LSU 7 and Washington nothing.
Let's say a 12-play drive, but there are a lot of big plays in there for LSU, and again, we're not off to a good defensive start. And it's kind of where we left off, the last week against Michigan.
That's right.
That's another real disappointing part of our football. It's just we can't return kickoffs. There's a 17-yard line, and you've got to be able to get it out to 20, 25-yard line to have a chance.
Hines for a loss of 3. Now Sterling Hines, the second leading rusher on the team coming into this game, gets a net 1 yard. 28 yards rushing for the ball game for it.
Well, we missed a lot of people here. He doesn't have a chance here. I think on the first play on the sweep, he might have gotten a big gain out if he had stayed outside, but here there's just no one blocked.
Well, there's not a white jersey around that.
No.
All purple jerseys. 2nd and 13. Palur in trouble. Oh, I thought you might get penalized.
Well, he had Patterson right there, so it would have been I don't think the official would have been correct in calling it intentionally down, even though that's probably what he was doing.
3rd and 13. Palur throwing. This picked off.
They had underneath coverage, and Mark Patterson was open, and Steve just made a bad judgment there. He threw the wrong guy because they had pretty good coverage on Larry Michaels. Now you can see Patterson will come across. There's Larry right there. It's got good coverage. Now there's Patterson running free.
Yeah,
so go to Mark here. Take the crumb, so to speak.
Instead of going for all of it. Yeah.
Going for all of it, especially with the good coverage.
Dale with the interception. So LSU has it again at the Washington 29. And here comes James. Now they take Hilliard out and put James in.
And then there's no drop-off. All they do is get another great player with it's fresh. This is a counter sweep out of a slot back. And again, we're not very good at playing it. We're not, we don't get off the blocks. We miss tackles. We get blocked. There's, just 11-yard gain here.
Take the ball to the 18. 1st and 10. James fumbles. But you don't get a break. They
loss of 3. And that, down here, you've got to think that that's a kind of a play that would stop you from, maybe force them into a field goal. And that's basically what happens. They'll come back and throw an incomplete pass here. We react pretty well there. We've got 3 people around it.
Yeah, he's throwing it into a crowd then.
Yeah, that was one of our better plays. They'll come back with a draw play.
3rd and 13. It was Lang, the fullback. And he fooled almost everyone, but Washington stops it. So Patanzo is going to come in and attempt a field goal. 4th and 7. 32-yarder. Kick is up. He's got a strong leg. Little guy, only 5'7".
And really slow. I just was disappointed in our block team because he was kicking in 1.4, 1.5,
and you should be able to get in.
You should be able to get in and do that. So that's another thing that part of our kicking game. It's not where it's going to have to be.
Well, you see, it's 10-0, and LSU's had the ball twice, and they've gotten on the scoreboard twice. Here comes Washington again.
And this just gives the defense a big play. And so much emotion when they can hold you to a 10-yard gain on the kickoff return. That is really poor on our part.
That's just bad blocking? Just poor blocking?
We're not blocking anybody. We're not sustaining. We're not getting anybody out of the way. And we come in with an off-tackle play. And this is a team that couldn't stop the run for 2 games. And we can't block them now.
That was Cookie Jackson. And again, only for 2. And you can see the crowd's alive. The players get confidence. You're leading 10-0. You're battling a team like Washington into a standstill.
Yeah, it's a ranked team and a team with a big win, and they're all fired up and just really shutting us down. Danny almost makes a great catch here. It was a well-thrown ball. Steve and Danny read the safety crash. It's kind of what we call a sight adjustment route. He did a good job.
Now, interesting play right here. Okay, end-over-end kick, as you'll see. Now, the ball's going to bounce up and hit an LSU player right there. Now the ball's free and loose, and Washington's going to recover it.
Yeah, this is our one break of the day. It was a 28-yard kick in the air. And they've just got to get away from it. From their standpoint, they don't need to be trying to make that catch.
Does it hit him in the...
It hit him right in the foot right there.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
Said Doug Crow recovered that, but I never did find out. It doesn't look like Doug has it. But someone did. It's a break for us.
Washington has the ball. 1st and 10 now at the 43. Throwing to the outside, Pallure to Stransky for 15 and a 1st down.
Pretty good move by Dave. That's play action pass on 1st down, and it's an out route. Good gain for us.
So Stransky on the day had 4 catches for 34 yards, 15 of them right here. And it's beginning to look a little more like a Washington football team. Get the ball going.
Well, we've got some decent field position now, and giving our defense a little rest on the sideline.
1st and 10 at the 42. Hunt.
I believe this is Walt's only carry of the day, as I recall. Not a bad gain.
He picks up 4. Well, why didn't you go back to the fullback wall?
Well, when you fall behind, you can't run anything. You've got to throw the ball, run draws and screens. There's Larry Michaels for 8 yards.
And a 1st down. 1st and 10 at the LSU 30. Jacques Robinson in the game. Now, you played him a little bit more.
He got a little bit more playing time. Ran a counter right there. He picked up about...
he got 4.
4, yeah.
2nd and 6, Pallure. Danny Green, just a great catch.
Yeah, it was excellent. Catch it twice, but it's a good job.
That's good for 24 yards and sets up a Washington touchdown. You get a chance to look at it again. Here's Pallure looking right at you. And here comes Danny Green. Now watch the catch here.
I think what Danny does, he gets up off the ground, and he's in a position to time it better than the defender. So that gives us a chance to get it on 2. We get an unbalanced toss sweep. Jock goes in for a touchdown. Roten, Michaels, Maher all had good blocks.
So now you drive down, take advantage of the break, go in to score. Here it is again. Jock, the tailback spot out of the eye, just goes in to score, as you'd mentioned. Washington on the scoreboard late here in the 1st quarter.
Jeff Jager in for the extra point, and so we're back in it. It gives our defense a little bit more to fight for, and see if we can get out of there, get out of some drives. I think we're convinced that our offense can move it if we can just give them the ball.
Jager drives it deep in the end zone. They'll down it there. 1st and 10 for LSU at their own 20. Wickersham.
Wickersham's a sophomore, and they came out and he struggled a little bit in the first 2 games, but they let him throw. They did a good job with him. I think they prepared him well, and and showed confidence in him by letting him throw right from the start.
Watch this. Dalton Hilliard. You give him a little daylight, and he is gone. But look at number 24, Robert Leapart. And I don't think Hilliard could believe it's somebody catching behind once he got out there.
That was a good job by Robert. We had a couple of players that on our defense, the backside cannot let him cut back, and we had a bad call up for what they had on. And,
now Holmes just saw missed him right there.
So now we overrun there. You can't, the backside cannot go beyond an overrun, or you've got long gains, and this is one of the poor defensive plays of the year by the Huskies. But a good second effort play by Robert Leapart.
65 yards, as you saw right there. So Hilliard gets LSU perfect position. Here's James, and he picks up 2.
And Madsen made a tackle. We had a chance to get him in the backfield, but missed him.
2nd and 8 at the 13. James, just a little seam. He carries the ball.
They hit it with so much force, and they're getting good blocking out of their tight end, and just kick out block right there. You see, there's a good seam. 71 gets the linebacker, and it's just enough to get through.
Leapart comes over the back. J.C. Pearson. Wickersham just dives straight ahead and goes in to score. And at a time where you could have stopped them and maybe really given yourself a break right then and really maybe changed the momentum of the ball game, they come down the length of the field in that 65-yard run to set it up and then score the touchdown. And all at once, at the end of the first quarter, the score is 17-7. That's a wild first quarter.
You sit on the sideline, you wonder sometimes, does that mean it's going to be 40, 50, 60 points? And the way we're playing defense right now, it very well could be.
We'll be back, have the second quarter for you right after this. At the LSU 45, Hines for only 2.
And again, I think there was just a little bit more there. I think Sterling's got to pick his feet up and make more out of that play.
Pallure on 2nd and 8. Rolls to the outside and hits Patterson. Oh, with a great catch.
It was a well executed play. Mark just barely got in, and it's kind of a half roll play. We start out with the drop back and then we sprint out late, and it's a moving pocket and gives Steve a little better chance.
Mark Patterson had a big game. 7 catches, 114 yards. So the Huskies on the move at the LSU 27, 1st and 10. Hines for only 1. And they just block it off in a hurry. There's nothing.
Yeah, we had 2 of their players stuffed 4 of ours. Just absolutely destroyed us. And that's, again, if you're going to play good defense, you got to do that. You got to play off the blocker, maybe play off 2 blockers, and come up with a big play.
Now Washington guilty of holding on this play. One of a number of holding calls in the ball game. Mr. Cook, the referee.
Well, this is really a big penalty. It's a pass, and you hold on a run. It's from the spot, so it was really a big penalty for us.
Took the ball all the way back to the 43, 2nd and 26. That was to Michael for 16. You get part of it back.
Get part of it back. Still 3rd and 10.
But you're on a drive here.
We're in good field position. And Steve, runs for this thing and almost makes it.
Just short of the first down marker. Now, did you think about going for it?
Well, the report we got that it was a long 1 yard, and so our thinking here is let's go ahead and get the 10 on the scoreboard, get a 10-17. That looks pretty good. We're going to win a touchdown, but
Jaeger just misses. Yeah, just misses to the left.
Ball.
LSU takes the ball, drives it down the field. Action now 1st and 10 at the Washington 35. Wickersham throwing into the end zone, intended for Doral, and Leapart was there.
Robert's got to make that catch. He's experienced. He's got good hands, and they had a pump and go, and they just beat our young cornerback bad. It could have been a score, but Robert made a great play by getting over there. This is a little counter off tackle for 5 yards.
For 5. So it's 3rd and 5 now at the 30. Wickersham back to throw again. Time goes over the middle. It is complete to Martin for 21.
It's an intermediate zone, and if they're throwing intermediate zones, one of the first things you got to think of is pressure, and you can see there's no inside pressure on the quarterback. He's just got a perfect throwing lanes. They block both our 2 inside rushers.
You got some work to do defensively.
Yeah, I think you're right. The way we played the last 6 or 7 quarters.
Yeah, not too well. 1st and 9. That's James for 4. So that takes the ball to the 5. It's second down goal to go. Wickersham back, and here comes Matson. Now, Lynn Matson had himself good football.
Yeah, Lynn did some good things. He had some sacks. He had tackled the ball carrier for losses, and so I think probably made some more good plays maybe than anybody else on defense. Got good pressure there by Dean Browning also.
Lynn Matson, number 68. So a loss of 9. Now it brings up third and goal at the 14. Now crazy play here, a fumble, and Durrell's going to try to pick it up, or Fontenot rather, and try to run it. He almost gets away.
Well, this was a reverse, and Wickersham fumbled the ball, and then he thought maybe he'd just flip it behind his back, he'd still get away with the reverse, but it didn't work out.
Batanzo's in, attempts a 37-yard field goal, and this one looks awful good.
He didn't hit this one very good. This one was,
wide.
Way wide right. He didn't give himself much of a chance there.
So the Huskies hold, and it's still 17-7. Both teams should have been on the scoreboard. Here is a very interesting drive because it eats up a lot of clock, and we're going to show it all to you for a reason, because there were so many penalties. That was DeMichael for 7. 2nd and 3. Pallure, this is late in the second quarter. DeMarc Patterson, this is going to be good for 6.
I think I figured up we gained over 77 yards in this drive, and I think we're penalized over 37.
Okay, here's a gain of 4. Now you're going to be penalized 10 yards for holding.
This was, referee had to get in the act here, and
what?
Who knows? You look at the film, and I'd say.
So now you're back 10 yards, back to the 20, or back to the 23 rather. Jackson for 3.
This is a draw play.
We'll just run this along for you now. 2nd and 17. Pallure passing to Green. Washington guilty of holding. Penalty decline. Did you pick out that hold?
That was one where we were guilty of, they said, pushing a guy that rushed in a gap, and I don't know how else we could have blocked him.
3rd and 14. Pallure to Patterson for 19 yards and a first down.
Now we got a first down again, and we come back with this half rollout again, this late rollout by Steve.
A gain of 7, but Washington is guilty of holding. What was this one?
Run out by Caston. We have a flag.
Who knows?
You don't have this one.
I saw it. It was a holding penalty, but
5 yards.
5-yard penalty to 43. 1st and 15 now. Pallure back to throw. Complete to Jock Robinson, and he will gain 14.
Now this is a screen pass. It's like I say, we go forward, go backwards, like 2 steps forward, 1 backward.
You're at the 43. Breno DeFeo over the right side gets 5 and a first down. So you still have it now at the LSU 38.
Yeah, pretty good field position.
In good shape.
And if we can get on the scoreboard on this drive, we're right back in this thing, and we almost get on here.
Oh, it's right there.
A good throw, and their defender came back and made a very fine last-minute play. Clark, one of their senior cornerbacks. 2nd
and 10 at the 38. Pallure. And this time he's going to get in trouble.
Now we're going to get a clip call.
Yeah, boom, right there.
It's Ted Rosey blocking 77. It's from the side. It's we're not, like I say, we're not going to get any breaks. It's close. It's going to be a penalty.
So now it takes you back to the Washington 40. Incredible series. Pallure passing to Stransky, incomplete. Now here is the play that could have kept the drive alive. You judge for yourself. Patterson says he caught the football. The referee said he did, and then he didn't. So you're down to the 22.
There's the official that says he caught it. And,
that's right.
And another official came in and had the same vantage point that he had and said it was not a catch.
So here it is, and you can judge for yourself. We can see it here. Now, did he catch the ball? He's down? Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure he had possession of it.
And what a break it would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a good break for us. To come in with a 22-yard punt here, it doesn't give us the help we need on the field position.
So all at once, after all of that, LSU is going to get the ball in Washington in good field position at their own 38. Have a chance to move it again. Wickersham to James. Look out.
This is a screen pass, and we had a lot of trouble with it against Michigan, and I'm sure Navy will see that, and they'll put the same play in because we haven't stopped it in 2 weeks.
The 45, 1st and 10. James will lose 1.
Ron Holmes gets a little penetration there on the sweep. That's a good job.
So now at the 46, 2nd and 11. And Wickersham to throw again. And that's to Eric Martin.
And it's
good for 20.
It's no, no pressure. And you take another look at it. We're in zone drops, and if he can have that much time to set up and throw the intermediate type passes.
The game plan, you wanted to get to him. You had to get to him somehow.
No, we didn't there. We just don't feel like we're strong enough to put our secondary in a lot of man-to-man coverage, run a lot of blitzes, and we come back to fairly good play there. A fairly good play for us is a 5-yard gain for them.
That's the way it turned out.
Small and Kwiatkowski on the tackle.
2nd and 5. Wickersham trying to get him on the scoreboard just before the half. Breaks away from 2 tackles.
Off the hook there, and again, we almost tipped that one for a completion.
So now it's 3rd and 5 at the 21. Time running out in the half. Washington trailing 17-7. Wickersham throwing, and it was incomplete, intended for Martin. It's the only one he dropped all day. It was around him. 4th and 5 at the 21 now. Betanzos comes in, kicks the field goal, and at the half, it's LSU 20 and Washington 7. You go back and look at a couple of series and look at a couple of things that happened in that second quarter without the penalties. Patterson's catch.
The bottom line is we're not playing very good. We're just defensively we're not doing a good enough job getting our drives. They're moving at will with the run and the pass, and putting a lot of pressure on the offense and making our offense do things we'd rather not do, which is basically throw every down.
Is it because you're a young team? The talent's there, but you're a young team?
Well, I think there's some areas where we're young and inexperienced that it's hurting. I think there are 1 or 2 players that played for us that have been around long enough and are experienced and just got whipped physically. That if that's going to happen, we don't have much of a chance.
We'll be back with our halftime feature right after this. Americans, where are they now? This week, here's a guy I'm sure you all know.
Oh, what a drive.
Hugh, I don't feel so bad.
He may not be the best golfer who ever played the game, but when he played football at Washington, there are those who say there was none better. Husky fans knew him as Hurryin' Hugh, and in the pros, he was called the King. Hugh McElhaney did it all, and was one of the best, if not the best, running back ever to play for the Huskies. He was a punt returner, a kickoff returner, a running back, and he even kicked extra points. But all that might not have happened if he hadn't changed his mind about college at the last minute.
I had an appointment to Annapolis, and that's where I was going to go. And I had to go to Admiral Farragut. Bob Cameron and myself, he was the hotshot quarterback when I was in high school. And I backed out the day before because Peggy wasn't going to wait for me for 4 years. And so I backed out, and that's when I went to SC.
But after a misunderstanding and no paycheck at SC, he ended up at Compton Junior College. All that after a working trip through part of the United States. It was while he was running wild on the football field at Compton that the Huskies became interested in Hugh McElhaney. And Husky football has never been the same. Hugh McElhaney averaged 5.5 yards a carry in his 3 years at Washington, and that's still the best mark in the history of the school.
When you got the ball, you're really not thinking, you're reacting. And that's really what you do. It's like walking down a dark alley. And pretty soon you start running, and pretty soon you start imagining, or you see shadows, and you move accordingly. And I think there was a lot of fear in me, and I just ran like hell.
McElhaney went 91 yards for a touchdown in one game, returned a kickoff 97 yards for a touchdown in another, and still holds the school record for the longest punt return, 100 yards against USC in 1951. But Hughes says the sports writers and broadcasters helped make him a big name by exaggerating their stories about his exploits on the field.
There was a run that I made against Kansas State. We played against Kansas State, and Royal Brome wrote an article on this fantastic run I made. Well, I read this article, and it was just, gosh, it was a terrific article. My goodness, that was terrific. But then, that was on Sunday, the article, and then Monday, of course, we went to practice and we viewed the films. And it was nothing like that. I just got the ball and went right straight down the sidelines for a touchdown. But he had me zigzagging and all that kind of stuff.
Today, Hugh McElhenney is the corporate food service marketing manager for the Alpac Corporation that bottles and distributes Pepsi and 7-Up throughout the Northwest, Alaska, and Hawaii. And he says it's the best job he's ever had. He also enjoys playing golf and working in the yard, and this year was Seafair's King Neptune. But football has always been an important part of his life, and he keeps a close eye on the Huskies and is president of the Big W Club. And every running back who ever plays at Washington will always be compared to the king, Hugh McElhenney.
I never really considered myself that good. Maybe from the outside I acted cocky or whatever, but inside I never felt that I was that good. But things just kept happening. But after receiving, there's only two things I haven't done in football. One is a Heisman Trophy, and I haven't played in the Rose Bowl. And of course, when I played, they didn't have the Super Bowl. So there's only two things that I didn't achieve, but I've achieved everything else. So being a member of the Hall of Fame, Washington State, California Helms Foundation, Collegiate Football, Pro Football Hall of Fame, I guess I can say, and maybe somebody would still say I'm conceited by saying it, I must have been pretty damn good.
Hugh McElhenney, great All-American at Washington. Next week, a guard by the name of Milt Bohart. We'll be back with more right after this. One drive, only scoring drive in the third quarter. LSU has the ball. That's James on the outside for only one. Albritton runs him out of bounds, number 6. They have the ball on the 42.
Yeah, he almost got outside. You can see the quickness that he had. There's a counter play. And here he makes about 4 yards on the tackle. You know, this is just strong running. That's a 6-yard gain. Lynn Madsen and Kelly in on the tackle.
Kelly went to the sideline with an injury right there, but he's back later.
Bruised elbow, and he banged it again.
3rd and 3, and James carries for 10.
And again, it's the outside leverage. Turn it back into the team, but we're not getting done. And you know, you can see we got some inside people coming right there, but they don't have a chance if we don't send it back into them. Unless there's no one out there. You know, we've blown the outside leverage, and that's you know, that's the loss of the experience of the secondary play that we had. That hurts when you get those kind of plays. Now here we come back, and Lynn Madsen again gets upfield, gets a James for a 4-yard loss.
And a good play by Madsen. And you keep seeing number 68 in on defensive plays. Here he comes again. See him? Fights his way through and just drills him for a 4-yard loss, as you'd mentioned. So the ball back at the 45, 2nd and 14. Wickersham, young sophomore quarterback, just trips and falls.
Gets caught up in a guard, the center's feet. You know, he had a pass on, and sometimes those guards get out of there so quick that they trip up the quarterback.
The right back go to the air on 3rd and 18. Watch this.
This was just incredible. You know, when we get one of our best players in a man-to-man coverage, knowing he's got help deep, and we can't even get close to the receiver. That is an ugly football play right there from our standpoint, I'll guarantee you. And if we keep having those kind of plays, we have no chance. I don't care whether we got a pressure on the quarterback or not.
There's just nobody around him. He picks up 23 yards and a 1st down. 1st and 10 at the 26. James again.
And they come back and you know, they get us on the ropes and they knock some people down. And
he just explodes. Explodes to the
he's
line.
getting help here. This is there's some people down. You know, look, how'd you like to be a running back and have that much running room right there? You know, he's going again. He's running so strongly and so hard that he's going to make 4 or 5 yards when you try to make your tackle. You got to get up into him and make the tackle on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Picks up 3 yards.
Go off tackle here, and that's a big play down here. You know, we talk about a 2nd and 1, and inside the 20, 3-yard gain's a big play.
1st and 10 at the 14. James. They did with Dalton Hilliard earlier. They come right back to the tailback again.
That's 6-yard gain, and we got the outside force that time, but inside people are chopped down.
That's good offensive line, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
That's as good a line as you're going to see.
Talent-wise, it's outstanding.
James carries for 5. So now he has, at the 3, 1st down, goal to go. Interesting play.
That's an embarrassment, you know, from a defense standpoint. And again, it's got something to do with concentration, getting ready to play. That's not the first time they run that play. They've scored with it this year, and we ran it on our players this week. But so it's just, you know, if you're concentrating and you're in the ball game, you think in terms of all the possibilities, and that's an embarrassment right there. I'd say that. Can't stand that kind of football.
Don't like that at all. No. Betanzos adds the extra point, and just like that, it's 27-7. The crowd, over 82,000, record crowd, they just go wild. And as you say, disappointment right there. You turn around and look and say, what in the world can we do to stop these people? How in the world do we prepare for this thing?
Well, we've just got to do better. You know, we've got to get into the game more. We've got to do a better job as a staff. We've got to do a better job as a team. And again, I think the thing that I mentioned to the players that we learned from this game is what it takes to be a good football team. You know, we thought we were there. We looked at film of LSU a couple weeks, and they got there. Just in a matter of a week, they got to where they were a great football team, and we've got to get our expectation level up a little bit higher.
We'll be back with the fourth quarter right after this. And they start right away again in the fourth quarter. Watch this play. Good for 23 yards and a 15-yard penalty right there.
You know, well, we said going in, if we could just get them in second and third and long and let the sophomore throw it, and here he is, he's just picking us apart. There, you know, we can't hit it when we're out of bounds. It's a 38-yard game, the first start of the fourth quarter.
First play of the fourth quarter.
23 and 15 on a penalty. Yeah.
So they take the ball all the way from the LSU 29 to the Washington 33.
Now watch this one. Oh, well, we come right back and we've got an interception and we tip it, and that's, like I say, that's 2 in 2 weeks where we don't make the catch and we give them a touchdown because of it. You know, this is kind of a basic play. We got to be able to think we can make this play.
Yeah, that's an interception. And Fontenot is there to grab the ball and a first down. First and goal to go.
So that's 38 and 33, 2 plays, and we get a decent play here. Hilliard, no gain. Browning makes the tackle.
Second and goal. Here comes Browning.
The sack, so we get a big play down here. And this is the thing. Usually, when you get a sack or a play for a loss down here, you get out of a touchdown. You know, you usually force the opponent into going for 3. But you know, we got decent coverage and we get some pressure. So we're working together here as a team.
So now it is third and goal at the 18. Wickersham throwing to Martin into the end zone, touchdown.
Well, we had a blitz on, and one of our linebackers fell down as he got close to quarterback, and you might be able to see that.
Here he comes.
Right there. Now Tripp right there. Now Vesey fell down out there. Vesey Jackson. He just tripped a little bit, and you take 2 falls, and that's touchdown. That's touchdown.
So 3 big plays.
Third down, 18 on the goal line. You figure you got to be able to get out of it.
The extra point is good, and it's 34-7. This time you look at the clock and say, I wonder how high that score is going to be.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to think that right from the start, the way we play defense. We come back with a poor pass intended to Roten and don't make it. And you get a second and 10 here.
Pallure to Patterson. Great move. And for a second, it looked like he might go all the way.
He ran away from a lot of people there. Displayed a little speed. He gets 51-yard gain. I believe that's probably our biggest of the year.
It is.
But it's, you know, it's just a good job of execution from an offensive standpoint.
Mark Patterson with the catch.
See, they were in that man underneath coverage with deep zones, and so Mark, you know, just defeated the one man, and because that's what they did to us a few times. That gives us a little shot in the arm, gives us some good field position.
So first and 10 now for Washington, the LSU 29. Pallure out to Lutu for 2. Now Larry Michaels out of the game with an injury.
Now, Larry had a bruised shoulder, came back and tried it, but he's back on the sideline now, and Lutu makes a good catch there.
Second and 8, throwing to Danny Green. Just a great catch.
It was an excellent catch. You know, we're going to get a touchdown here, but that's, you know, most officials going to let that one.
Well, I think you let it go in the end zone. See, was he in the end zone? Oh boy.
You know, it's really hard to say. The ball's on the other side, but I thought the ball probably came down on the goal line. But you know, Steve makes it here, so it's not a big deal.
So Washington on the scoreboard as Pallure dives in. Extra point by Jaeger right at you, and it's 34-14. As the Huskies move at 80 yards.
Well, we've got a lot of time left here, and we're throwing the ball pretty well. If we could ever just get a turnover, get a big play out of
an interception, something, yeah. Run it back. Need a big break right now. At the 23, first and 10. Here comes James. He's also, you know, on the kickoff return team.
And Alan James makes the tackle. Freshman, and Alan, you know, had a good day last week against Michigan on the kickoffs. Well, they put their second-team line in here, and that's one thing that our first-team defense is better than their second-team line. We got a big play there by Browning, 3-yard loss.
Ooh, good hit. Good hit by Browning. So second And second and 13 at the 20.
And this is right where we wanted to get him. Second and 13, he just plays catch with us. We can't get a...
You got to pick that one off or knock it away or do something.
Do something.
But not a first down for them.
They run a little counter inside play, and Madsen gets him for a 2-yard loss.
Wickersham throws the ball out of bounds in the next play. Pick it up now 3rd and 12 at the 35. Wickersham again. Intended for Mackey and misses there. Well, defense holds. Now it's 34-14. You're going to get the ball back.
It's a 29-yard punt. This was not the best day in the world for punters. That went off the side of his foot.
So now you have a really good field position. The Washington 36, 9-10 to go in the football game. And a chance to put something else on the scoreboard.
It's about time we get a holding call.
That's right.
We haven't had one for a while.
Where is it? Right there.
Get a clip instead. And, you know, I couldn't... It was Dave Stransky, and I just, you know, he'd made such little contact on the guy, and I really don't even think he made contact. But like I say, on this day, we're not going to get anything.
You're not. Pallure. He falls down, 17-yard loss.
We get the big 15-yard penalty, come back with the big 17-yard loss, and now we're back on the 14-yard line.
2nd and 33. Pallure to throw. Going deep. Throws it into double coverage there and it's picked off.
Yeah, he just one of those hope and pray shots. Really, it's the thing about it is it was farther than we could punt the ball, so so a long interception if you can't punt it, I guess.
Going with a whole different offensive scheme or defensive scheme, throwing it to the outside, complete to Fontenot for 12 yards and a first down.
And again, that's the 5-yard game we were talking about, and we go up and miss the tackle, and he fights himself fights for a 12-yard game.
Dalton Hilliard back in the game. James getting the rest, and Madsen makes good play on it.
Yeah, Lynn's upfield again, and this and Lynn runs well. You know, he came back and probably stronger than he'd ever been, and you know, prepared well for this season. You know, he plays off a couple of blockers here, gets good upfield pressure.
So a loss of 3, 2nd and 13 at the 49.
Little inside handoff. Fred Smalling on the tackle.
Well, that's good for 4 yards, so it's 3rd and 9. A long 3rd 9 yards. Wickersham, watch what he does. He's right back to Eric Martin. And that's good for 16 and a first down.
Well, what can I say?
There isn't a lot you can't say right now. Hilliard for 4.
Basically, they're doing whatever they want to do, whatever they want to try. They're executing. It's 4-yard gain, Stuart Hill on the tackle.
At the 25.
There's loss of contain again. Fundamental football, 7-yard gain.
Down to the 18. 1st and 10 there. Dalton Hilliard. They had number 90, Ronnie Holmes, in there to stop him for a loss of 1. 2nd and 11.
Good play by Ron there.
And Durrell's going to pick up 10 on the play, but there's going to be a personal foul on top of that.
Well, they said right there that Joe Kelly, you know, when he missed that tackle, he was going for the guy's head. So we got a penalty for that.
It's a penalty for that?
Yes.
So it is at the 4, 1st and goal. That's Hilliard for only 1. 2nd and goal. Here comes Wickersham again.
Well, we haven't seen this for about 10 minutes, so you can't expect us to stop it.
Runs it to the outside, and I don't know, Donald, you seen enough of this? It will not go in your highlight film, I don't think. You play it back.
No, I saw it last night, and I saw it today in films, and I've seen 7. I've seen about all I need to see of it.
You see the final, 40-14 in favor of LSU. Disappointing loss, because you go down as the 7th-ranked team in the country with high hopes, and you want to go down there and say, hey, this Washington football team can stay with the team from the Southeast Conference, and you just get blown away. Well,
I think we probably talked enough last week about the fact that we were not the 7th best team in the nation, and we understand, though, how polls work and why we're up there. But the discouraging thing is just a great lack of fundamental football. It is so disappointing, and we are young in a lot of places. But as we've talked a lot, we've got a lot of guys in the program playing that have been in the program 3 or 4 years, and hopefully that some of this fundamental stuff would have rubbed off by now. Get you ready for the conference, if one thing. Well, we learned a lot. We learned that we're not even close to being a good football team, and so now we have another week, actually 2 weeks of practice before we get into a conference game. So hopefully we can improve as a football team.
We'll be back and talk about the injury situation and Navy, the next opponent, right after this. Locker room, talk to the players, and obviously this time the Huskies disappointed with the way they played.
They played a lot more physical than we did. They pursued to play real well. You know, they just beat us. That's all. You can't say anything about it. They were top athletes and they were in good shape, and they rotated their defensive line to keep it fresh, and you know, it was evident of the outcome.
You know, we had heard good things about their tackles, you know, but no, their whole overall, I thought their whole O-line played tough. You know, their backs, we had seen a tendency to run out of bounds, you know, before getting hit, stuff like that. They didn't do that today. They were tough.
They just really came out today and just outplayed us, just beat us off the ball, and you know, established themselves as a hard physical team.
Do you feel this team maybe was a little more confident than they maybe should have been after that win over Michigan?
I wouldn't say that. We might have been more relaxed, if anything. Wasn't too much confidence, but we was pretty relaxed, and we got to just get that winning attitude back and just get ready for next week.
Well, they were good, no doubt about that. I think you know, they were some great athletes, and they played really hard. They were great competitors, and I don't think we played as well as we're capable of playing, and I don't think we played as hard as we're capable of playing.
Those are probably the two best backs I ever seen in my life. They just get to the point of attack so quickly, and we couldn't stop them today.
What about the offensive line? They did a good job, too. Maybe a little better than maybe somebody thought.
Well, they just came out and got after us, and we weren't ready to play them, and they kind of got one on us today.
Oh, we knew they were going to be good, but it's just a matter of that they outplayed us. They won the game more than we did, and it was pretty self-evident. It was pretty embarrassing out there.
You got them the two big men up at tackles, and they just believe around and behind them, and they just, you know, they kept to their game plan and stuff, and they tried to stuff it down our throat. And of course, their running backs are quick, and they can find the hole pretty fast. So that's where we got in trouble at.
And what effect do you think it's going to have on your football team, if any?
Well, I feel that we're competitive enough to suck it up and try to come back next week, because we know we have a job to do against Navy, and if we let this get us down and just continue on to the season, we can't have that as a young team.
Oh, you certainly can't have it as a young team. We'll talk about Navy in just a minute, but Don, what about injuries? You know, how do you stand there?
Well, we went into the game with J.C. Pearson a little bit banged up. He got, you know, we had to block low all last week because that's what they do, and that's what a lot of our opponents do. And so he had a little knee problem, and but he'll be slowed down some. Stuart Hill was hobbled all last week in practice, and of course he was right in the thick of all the plays, so he's battered and bruised up. Then Larry Michaels hurt the shoulder, went back in, but it was still pretty sore, so he will no doubt miss a lot of work.
Timmy Amber, when will he be back?
Well, you know, we're attempting to get him back. It'd be nice if we could have him back this week. What we'd like to do is have him ready and just see how he is on Saturday, but he possibly could be another week away.
Okay, we'll talk about Navy right after that. Play Michigan and LSU back-to-back, and I think there were a lot of people when the season started said, no way this young Washington team's going to beat either one of those teams. But you get out of there with a 1-1 split, beating Michigan, losing to LSU. Now Navy on the schedule. Now what about Navy? Is it, you know, chance maybe to let down a little bit and get back to reality and work on some things?
Well, I wouldn't think that, you know, we could even think about a letdown. I think when you play the kind of game that we played against LSU, that you know, the first thing you can't wait till Saturday next week so you can get out and play again and sort of redeem yourself. So we'll be excited about playing Navy. We'll also remember the fact that the 1981 we had a difficult time with them out there, and in fact lost to them on national TV. So we've got to respect them. You know, any given Saturday anything can happen, and we've just got to think in terms of ourselves, getting ready to play closer to our potential.
It gives you a chance, really, though, not playing a national power, to a little bit of a break, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I think if we look at that way, we'll probably be in a lot of trouble.
Well, now, you think you'll be ready this week?
Well, we've got a lot of work to do. Again, I think the basics, the fundamental football things, you know, we'll have to go back to and try to start from scratch. The big thing is our classes start this week. We'll have a full week. Our players now will have to lift weights, go to meetings, go to classes, study, and it'll just be a busy week for them.
Washington against Navy next week. Join us then. Until then, good evening.
Your State Farm agent can protect